A man walks into a hospital and asks to see the nurse. She incurs him into the cubicle band, draws the curtain behind her. She asks, "What's the problem?" And the man replies, "You won't laugh. You promise me you won't laugh." The nurse replied, "Sir, I've been a professional nurse for 25 years, and in all that time I have never and will never laugh at a patient. You have my word." "Okay," said the man, and with that he dropped his trouser and pants, and the nurse looked and saw what was the smallest cow she had ever seen, not even as big as a AAA battery. The nurse started to giggle, and within a minute she is rolling around on the floor, absolutely bawling her eyes out with laughter. About 5 minutes later, she dragged herself up off the floor and slowly composed herself and apologized profoundly. Then the nurse asks the man, "What is the problem?" The man replied, "It's swollen." We live in a tower block and occasionally have new people move in and out. Yesterday we encountered a new resident, a short, red-haired lady who, through dwarfism and food, managed to appear to be about as wide as she is tall. My boyfriend greeted her with a simple hello. He also tried to say welcome, but she cut him off with, "Shut up! I don't know you. Okay, not the sociable type, neither are we. Best not get friendly then." Today, when returning from grocery shopping, we found her trying to pick the lock with what looked like a piece of a paperclip, because, that's going to work. She's apparently been at it a while, because before we could open the door with our key, a police car stopped and the officer called out to her. The officer asked her why she was breaking in, to which she responded she lived here. She turned to us and said, "They know me." My boyfriend smiled and said, "I don't know you." We entered the building after the officer asked us to confirm, and my boyfriend repeated, "We don't know her. Can't wait to have more contact with her." A young husband comes home one night, and his wife throws her arms around his neck. "Darling, I have great news. I'm a month overdue. I think we're going to have a baby. The doctor gave me a test today, but until we find out for sure, we can't tell anybody." The next day, a guy from the electric company rings the doorbell because the young couple hasn't paid their last bill. "Are you Mrs. Smith? You're a month overdue, you know." "How do you know?" stammers the young woman. "Well, ma'am, it's in our files," says the man from the electric company. "What are you saying? It's in your files?" "Absolutely." "Well, let me talk to my husband about this tonight." That night, she tells her husband about the visit, and he, mad as a bull, rushes to the electric company offices the first thing the next morning. "What's going on here? You have it on file that my wife is a month overdue. What business is that of yours?" The husband shouts. "Just calm down," says the clerk. "It's nothing serious. All you have to do is pay us." "Pay you? And if I refuse?" "Well, in that case, sir, we'd have no option but to cut yours off." "And what would my wife do then?" the husband asks. "I don't know. I guess she'd have to use a candle." A Swindon fan is in a shipwreck and gets washed up on a desert island. There's no sign of human occupation, just a few sheep and a collie dog for company. After a few days, the Swindon fan starts to feel a little frisky and starts eyeing up the sheep, but the dog's instincts kick in and it won't let him anywhere near them. He tries every day for what seems like months, but the collie steadfastly guards the flock. Then one morning, he sees a young woman floundering in the surf. He wades out to reach her and drags her onto the beach. "Oh, thank the Lord," she gasps. "Our boat struck a rock and sank. Without your help, I would have drowned. What can I do to repay you?" The Swindon fan says, "Would you mind taking the dog for a walk?" Paddy is sitting on a train across from a busty blonde wearing a tiny mini skirt. Despite his efforts, he is unable to stop staring at the top of her thighs. To his delight, he realizes she has gone without underwear. The blonde realizes he is staring and inquires, "Are you looking at my vagina?" "Yes, I'm sorry," Paddy replies and promises to avert his eyes. "It's quite all right," replies the woman. It's very talented. Watch this. I'll make it blow a kiss to you." Sure enough, the vagina blows him a kiss. Paddy, who is completely absorbed, inquires what else the wonder can do. "I can also make it wink," says the woman. Paddy stares in amazement as the vagina winks at him. "Come and sit next to me," suggests the woman, patting the seat. Paddy moves over and she smiles and asks, Would you like to stick a couple of fingers in? Stunned, Paddy replies, You're kidding. You mean it can whistle too? A wife came home early and found her husband in their bedroom making love to a very attractive young woman. She was very upset. You're a disrespectful pig-eyed underscore, she cried. How dare you do this to me? A faithful wife, the mother of your children. I'm leaving you. I want a divorce now. Underscore. The husband calmly replied, Hang on just a minute, love. At least let me tell you what happened. Underscore. Fine, go ahead. The wife sobbed. Oh, but they will be the last words you say to me. Underscore. The husband began. Well, as I was getting into the car at work to drive home, this young lady here asked me for a lift. She looked so distressed, helpless, and defenseless that I took pity on her and let her into the car. Underscore. She was very thin, not well-dressed, and very dirty, and told me that she hadn't eaten for 3 days. Underscore. Out of compassion, I brought her home and warmed up the pizza I made for you last night that you wouldn't eat because you're afraid you'll put on weight. The poor thing ate it ravenously. Underscore. She was dirty. I suggested she have a shower. While showering, I noticed her clothes were filthy and threadbare. I threw them away. Underscore. I gave her the designer jeans that you've had for a few years but don't wear because you say they are too tight. Underscore, I gave her underwear, your anniversary present from me, which you don't wear because you said I don't have good taste. Underscore, I gave her the sexy blouse my sister gave you for Christmas that you don't wear just to annoy her. I also donated those boots you bought at an expensive boutique but don't wear because someone at work has the same pair. Underscore. The husband paused, took a quick breath, and continued. She was so grateful for my understanding and help that as I walked her to the door, she turned to me with tears in her eyes and said, Please, sir, do you have anything else that your wife doesn't use? 4 people go to an interview. The lady interviewer said, I'm going to ask each of you the same question, and which one of you gives me the best answer gets the job. She asks the first person, What is the quickest thing you know? Pausing for a while, he replied, Thought is the quickest thing. When a thought enters you, mind. Excellent, said the interviewer. She then asked the second person the same question, and he replied, Blinking is the fastest thing I think of. Excellent, said the interview. Blinking is really fast. She then asked the third person the same question. After a while, he said, My father lives on a farm, and when he pushes a switch at his back door, the barn light comes on 100 feet away. Wow, said the interviewer. The speed of light? Amazing answer. She was now thinking she had the man for the job. She then asked the fourth man the same question. Diarrhea. The man said. Yuck, said the interviewer. Why do you think that? Well, said the man, the other day I had a bad stomach, and before I could think, blink, or turn the light on, I'd shit myself. Went to a bar the other night and ordered a drink, and no sooner had the barman served my drink and took payment, a young lady asked if she could join me as I was alone, as was she. She was a stunner everything in the right place, 3620, 636, absolute stunner. We stayed in each other's company for most of the evening when she announced she was going home, but not before inviting me. No hesitation from me. We got to the house, and once inside, we passionately kissed with our tongues exploring before she stopped and took my hand and led me upstairs to the bedroom. Once inside, we passionately kissed again, but also removing each other's clothes. Once we were naked, she opened her bedside cabinet drawer and got a condom out, and I thought, FFS. So she passed it me, and I unwrapped. Not it was covered in knobbly bits. Feathers. I said, What's all this? She said, It gives me extra pleasures. I thought that and turned it inside out. Why should she have all the pleasure? A man playing on a new golf course got confused as to what hole he was on. He saw a lady playing ahead of him. He walked up to her and asked if she knew what hole he was playing. She replied, I'm on the 7th hole and you're a hole behind me, so you must be on the 6th hole. He thanked her and went back to his golf. On the back 9, the same thing happened, and he approached the lady again with the same request. She said, I'm on the 14th, you are a hole behind me, so you must be on the 13th? Once again, he thanked her. He finished his round and went into the clubhouse and saw the lady sitting at the end of the bar. He went up to her and said, "Let me buy you a drink to show my appreciation for your help." He started a conversation and asked her what kind of work she did. She said she was in sales, and he said he was in sales also. He asked what she sold. She replied, "If I told you, you would only laugh." "No, I wouldn't," he said. She said, "I sell tampons." With that, he fell on the floor laughing so hard, she said, "See, I knew you would laugh." "That's not what I'm laughing at," he replied. "I'm a toilet paper salesman, so I'm still one hole behind you." Three doctors with a growing private practice decide to hire a new nurse onto their staff to meet their needs. They hire a very qualified applicant named Beth and meet after a week to discuss the new nurse's abilities in her new role. The first doctor says, "Well, she does a really good job with the patients, but I'm concerned Beth is mixing things up a bit. I told her that her shift was from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and she showed up at 5 a.m. the next day." The second doctor chimes in, "I have had some similar issues. I told Beth to tell the patient they needed to take 1 antibiotic every 6 hours, and she told them they needed to take 6 every 1 hour." The third doctor looks shocked. "I have had absolutely no issues so far." Suddenly, the three doctors hear a blood-curdling scream coming from the next room. "Oh," says the third doctor. "I see what you mean. I just asked Beth to prick the boil on the patient in the next room." An old man enters the confession booth. The priest asks him if he has anything to confess. The old man says, "Last night I went to a bar, and 2 18-year-old girls took me to their place. It was a night of debauchery like I've never experienced before." The priest says, "Go and say 7 Hail Marys and splash yourself with some holy water." The old man says, "I'm not Catholic." The priest, very confused, asks, "Then why are you telling me?" The old man says, "I'm 80 years old. I'm telling everyone."